If the FBI report comes back and clears Kavanaugh and says there's no corroborating evidence for Dr. Ford's assertions, allegations, I don't know how you vote against him if you're a Republican. I don't know how you do that. Because then you would be siding with the mob, the people who don't care about due process. You'd be siding with them. Everybody agrees Kavanaugh's adult judge history is impeccable. I shouldn't say that. The far, far left zealots don't like him for one reason or another, but he's certainly been a responsible person. Okay, now this is a very interesting story. So Christine Ford apparently had an ex-boyfriend who was involved with her for 6 years. The boyfriend sent a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee, all right, to the chairman, Senator Grassley. Now, I don't know whether this was an affidavit under oath. I don't think it was. I think it was just a letter. And the letter went to Fox News as well, which tells you that, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe he knew if he sent it to the New York Times, they'd never print it. And they never reported on it, but I'll get to that in a moment. All right, so the letter basically says, quote, this is, let me read the thing. We'll put it up on the screen so you can follow along. During our time dating, Dr. Ford never brought up anything regarding her experience as a victim of sexual assault, harassment, or misconduct. Dr. Ford never mentioned Brett Kavanaugh. During some of the time we were dating, Dr. Ford lived with Monica McLean, who I understood to be a lifelong best friend. During that time, it was my understanding that McLean was interviewing for jobs for the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I witnessed Dr. Ford help McLean prepare for a potential polygraph exam. Dr. Ford explained in detail what to expect, how polygraphs worked, and helped McLean become familiar and less nervous about the exam. Dr. Ford was able to help because of her background in psychology, unquote. And there's much more in the letter about, you know, she didn't have fear of flying, she didn't have a fear of closed spaces. This is what the ex-boyfriend says. Now, today, Monica McLean, who did get a job with the FBI, was an agent, came out and said, hey, it's all bunk. All right, Dr. Ford never helped me with any lie detector tests. So we don't know. We don't know who's telling the truth, do we? All right, the ex-boyfriend says one thing, Monica McLean says something else. Monica McLean is a supporter of Dr. Ford from the very beginning in this whole thing. But here's the deal. The networks didn't cover it. New York Times didn't cover it. Washington Post didn't cover it. CNN, MSNBC didn't cover it at all. Nothing. Every tawdry allegation, unsubstantiated allegation, even from people like Avenatti, they ram it down our throats. The networks do. Morning show is 2 hours. All 3 network morning shows, 7 to 9. Don't mention it. This has to come from the top. It has to. Because the letter is pointed enough, controversial enough, that people would be interested in hearing it. Even people who support Dr. Ford. So this just confirms that at the top of these news agencies, orders come down, do this, don't do that. You can't tell me that every single morning program this morning, we're not going to use it. No. I listen to the CBS Radio News, World News Roundup at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I do that every day, all right? Because most of the time they're pretty accurate. Didn't mention it. Did not mention it. Every accusation against Kavanaugh, the CBS Radio News mentions. Didn't mention this. So now we have radio and television. This comes down from the top. So now there is very strong evidence you have a cabal of journalistic companies, media companies in America saying we're going to get Kavanaugh, and any exculpatory stuff like this letter, we're not going to even present it. That's dangerous.